Bring back the Foopengurkle! Now, if you have been alive in the past, I don't know, entire history of Earth, you've probably heard a legend of a beast that lives in the woods or a lake maybe even a giant dragon that patrols the skies. And they may be fantasy or they could be truth. Either way, they tell the story of cryptids, from Bigfoot to the Loch Ness Monster to even the Skinwalker. And chances are, if you've clicked on this video, you like cryptids just like me, and you may even know a lot about them. But today, we are not talking about the well-known cryptids. No, we are talking about the ones nobody knows. Hello and welcome back. I am Tommy Brake Fluid, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And not to delay it any further, what are these cryptids? Well, the first one is the Taniwha. Now, the Taniwha is a sea serpent that is usually found in New Zealand, more specifically the dangerous parts of the water. Now, the Maori people believe that the Taniwha can be found in strong currents, giant waves, and rapids. The Taniwha actually come in a bunch of different flavors. Some describe it looking as a whale or a shark. Some even describe it as a gecko with rows of spines down its back. And more interestingly, some describe it as being able to disguise itself into a log. Yeah. The Taniwha are also known to eat people when hungry, but other legends say that the Taniwha are guardians of the Maori people. And most of the Taniwha were intelligent and each had their own names and personalities. Now, have there been any modern sightings of the Taniwha? Well, yes and no. In 2002, the Ngati Naho people opposed plans for a highway by saying the highway would destroy the lair of the Taniwha, Karatahai. I said that wrong, I'm sorry. Now, I think this cryptid is super cool. Most skeptics believe that the Taniwha are just saltwater crocodiles. I, however, believe that the Taniwha is more of a cautionary tale to get people to fear the dangerous parts of the water. And the next cryptid on our list is the Grootslang. At 30 to 50 feet in length, with the head of an elephant and the body of a snake, we get the Grootslang, which literally translates to big snake. Well, the Grootslang come from Richterveld, South Africa. And some legends say that it is as old as the earth itself, that the gods were new to creating and created a creature with intelligence and strength. The legends say that the gods were ashamed with this monster and locked all of them up and went on to split them into elephant and snake. But one had escaped and now can be found in a cave called the Wonder Hole in Richterveld. And if anyone were to wander too close to the Wonder Hole, the Grootslang would have them over for dinner and then eat them. This may be the most popular theory, and it's definitely the most entertaining, but many believe that this was made up years after the fact. But that's no fun, so give me the giant snake with the elephant head. That's definitely smarter than me, even though that's not really saying much, but who knows. And the next beast is the Snallygaster. I wish it was this, but no, we get this Lovecraftian nightmare. First seen in Frederick County, Maryland in the 1730s, this horrifying beast was described as a half-bird, half-reptile with a metallic beak and razor-sharp teeth, and octopus-like tentacles coming out of the mouth. I know the Snallygaster sounds silly, but it was incredibly dangerous. It would swoop down and carry off its victims, draining them of blood. But there were some ways to ward off the Snallygaster, and that is by painting a 7-pointed star on your barn. And those stars can still be found today. I mean, these are still on barns. And sightings of the Snallygaster continued into the early 1900s. And people described seeing the Snallygaster over their towns. And these sightings were so popular that the Smithsonian Institution offered a reward, and President Theodore Roosevelt considered postponing his trip to Africa to hunt the Snallygaster. What? How is this not taught in schools? Sadly, though, the sightings was a hoax, but the lore is even deeper. What if I told you that the Snallygaster had a mortal enemy? And that leads us into our next unknown cryptid, and that is the Dawa'o. And the Dawa'o is a wolf-like creature that stood upright, was about 6 feet tall, and honestly just a dog man, but in Maryland. Kind of. You'll see the kind of later. There's one weird fact about this one that I don't fully understand. Now, the Duwat'o would have vicious encounters with the snallygaster in Maryland. I could not find anything more than that the Duwat'o was the only beast known to take down and kill a snallygaster, but I don't know where that comes from, so who knows. The first reported sighting of the Duwat'o was 1944, where witnesses heard screaming and saw footprints, but nothing was ever seen of the beast. And one of the weirdest sightings comes from 1966, where a man named Jim A. was at a park when he saw a beast slowly approach him. And like the alpha he was, he started to approach the Duwat'o. It made this horrid screech and backed away. Jim described it as a dark, shaggy, two-legged animal, the same size as a deer, but the real interesting thing is how it walked. Jim described it as walking with its legs stuck out the side of the body, making it walk almost spider-like. I don't know what that would look like, but it's terrifying regardless. And that brings us to our last cryptid of the day, and is by far the best, and it is Sinkhole Sam from Kansas. Now, I had never heard of Sam, but after looking into him, he is now my new favorite cryptid. Just everything about him is perfect, and I swear one day I am going to where he was seen, and I am going to look for him myself, because I want Sinkhole Sam to be my friend. Now, the legend of Sinkhole Sam starts in 1952. Two men were out fishing on Inman Lake in an area called the Big Sinkhole, and a beast came out of the water, and the men claimed that it was 15 feet long and as thick as a car tire. They said it looked like a worm or a snake, and as quick as they saw it, it dove back down into the murky water it called home. From there, a columnist from the Salina Journal named Ernest Dewey came to investigate the sightings. And Dewey was known to be a wee bit on the dramatic side, like when he was investigating a UFO in Kansas, where he denied that it was a UFO, but was actually the Kansas dragon named the bald-tailed Snickelhoopus, which I definitely need to make a video on, so stay tuned for that. But when he came to investigate good old Sam, he brought a scientific expert named Dr. Iramus P. Quantelbaum, which he definitely did not make up. And in his November 23rd, 1952 article named Monster Turns Out to be a Plain Old Foopengurkel, Dewey claimed that Sinkhole Sam is actually a Foopengurkel, and the reason that no one has seen them before is because the Foopengurkel is extinct. In fact, it is the most extinctiest creature that has ever inhabited the Kansas plains. And those are his exact words. But the most heartbreaking fact about the Foopengurkel is that they were all male, and they were too dumb to realize that they needed females for the furtherment of their species. And during mating seasons, they would just sit around feeling lonesome and sorry for themselves, but didn't know why. And the reason the Foopengurkel became extinct was sadder than this. Because he couldn't mate, he would just burrow down into ponds and lakes, going deeper and deeper until he couldn't go any deeper, and he saw no reason to go back up because nothing interested him on the surface, so he became extinct. And the Foopengurkel were vegetarians, but Dewey urged people to still be cautious because Sam forgot that he was extinct, and it's very possible that he could have forgotten he was also a vegetarian. But Dewey said that we won't have to worry about Sam anymore. Since the country has gone Republican, maybe he'll go away. Yeah, he said that. But that's not the end of Sinkhole Sam. That's right. We have sightings of a very similar creature in the 60s, 50 miles away in Kingsman State Lake. And those sightings led to a monster hunt, but it didn't come up with anything. So hopefully Sam is still out there. And I urge, if there are any de-extinctionists out there, we need to drop everything and bring back the Foopengurkel. And we need to make females for the Foopengurkel to keep the beautiful species alive. My heart cannot go on knowing about this travesty. So everybody needs to get together and chant justice for Sinkhole Sam. Come on, people, bring back the Foopengurkel. Bring back the Foopengurkel!